In terms of my own sermon preparation, I start a year in advance because I take a week's retreat every summer and spend time in silence just trying to hear God's voice and lay out sermons for the next 2 years. And so some of my sermon work happens, a year before I ever get to preaching that message. But on Tuesday mornings, Mondays are my day off, so Tuesday mornings I begin the day in prayer and just say, God, I get to spend all day today just listening and trying to hear what you would say to your people. And dig in and doing my research, my reflection beginning Tuesday. By the end of Tuesday, I have a sort of main point that I think is the direction the sermon is heading, and probably the structure of the message. And then I've got a whole bunch of notes. Wednesday morning, I meet with my worship planning team, and we spend time in prayer. We talk through the worship services for that week and the next week. And then I spend time with the pastors who are assisting in worship and talk them through the main points. And then Wednesday afternoon, I begin to try to write the message down. And my sermons, I prepare a manuscript for each one, and I typically prepare 5 to 6 drafts of that manuscript. So Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon are my primary time to work on that. But then every night, I'm a night owl, so every night after my wife goes to bed at 10 o'clock, 10:30, I'm working on the sermon again for several hours. And then Saturday, I spend half a day on Saturday writing the final draft, and usually it's shortening the sermon because it's typically by that point 8 single-space type pages, and I can only preach 5.5. So I will typically, the hard work is in shortening that down to a length that I can actually preach. Saturday night, I preach Saturday night, and I have somebody who has a copy of my manuscript, and they critique it, and they say, this really connected, and this didn't feel like it connected. Could you say that in a better way? And that was hard on my ego at first and challenging to do that, but I wanted that. I asked for the staff person to tell me with this. And then Saturday night, I go back, and if need be, I rework the sermon again for a couple hours, and Sunday morning, it's the final version. So that's what goes into my sermons each week.